check out the uh, website if you get a
I
chance.
think Kenneth
Today's
has a
topic, I think, is
follow
quite
up.
relevant. It is about
So
mental
he's
health
asking
and
if he has a student
the
who has a
stigma
recurring
around it.
problem
Our speaker is
as
Reha.
a, I am
You might have
assuming,
all
as a
received the
teacher,
intro.
what
She's a
can he do
practicing
and what
psychologist
would be
and
the right
counselor
intervention?
with expertise in some of the very relevant
Okay,
topics.
so if you're talking
I
about
think of
if there is
the
this
modern age.
problem
So
is recurring and
yeah,
it's
without
coming
taking any
again
more
and again,
time,
what
over
we
to you,
need to
Reha.
do is
Can
that you
start.
need to
So
follow
as
it.
Hi everyone.
I think he is a teacher,
Am I
and
audible to everyone?
he's asking in terms of if he
Yes,
has
Reha, you are.
a student
Yeah.
who has some
So
mental
before I start the
health
concept
issues.
of
I'm
mental
not sure
health, it
how
is
it has been
important that
diagnosed, but
we
if
do
that is there,
understand that
how can he
mental
help?
health is not just about
See, it is important if
the
something is actually
stigmas or the
diagnosed. First,
illness
we
we
need to
talk
know that
about.
if the thing is
It is
actually
much
diagnosed or
more
it's just the phase is coming. If
to
the
what we
person is
actually think of,
having problem,
and
troublesome
it
in
is
terms
not
of
just the
functioning,
presence or
there could
absence
be a chances of having
of a
developing a
mental
mental illness.
disorder
If he has already
which we
into
talk
that
about.
state of mental,
So today we'll be
I say
talking
diagnosis
about
process is done.
the
So
stigma
you need
which is
to
attached to
work
it,
through
and
it
how
as a
it's a
team
very
with the parents,
generic thing
with the support
which we
system.
consider
We are
to be
talking about
it's
if
okay to
and
talk
because
about
it's
somebody calling
important that if
somebody
you are at this
names
age
and
wanted
say,
to help
but
out
it
your
is
students,
actually not,
that the
and how it
significant person,
affects
people who
everyone's
are
or
involved
people
with
who are attached
with the
or
person who is
related
diagnosed
to
with
such kind of
these kind of
illness,
illness
their
are aware of
mental
these
state.
things, because you
So
cannot
before
treat
I
a
begin with
problem
this, it is
unless you don't
important
have
I
that support
make you
system.
understand that when we talk
I
about
mean,
health,
the chances, the
health is not
fruitfulness
just
will
about
come
mental health.
when your people
It
are
is
aware.
about
Be it your
physical health,
spouse, be it
and
your,
it
your
is
family
also
members
about
are aware of this
social
thing, because
and
there
the
might there might
other
be
aspects
chances or
which
symptoms
we
which are
generally forget
physically
about.
present,
If you go
or like
by
in your
the
behavior or
WHO
in terms
definition
of
of
your
health,
panic attacks or
it says that
burnouts,
it
which
is
they are not able
incomplete.
to understand if you don't tell about these things.
Just wait.
Now, does that answer your question, Kenneth?
Samil, Samil, there?
Yeah, I think he's asking if there are any basic symptoms that teachers specifically need to be on the lookout for in terms of mental health vis-a-vis students.
Okay, so when we talk about the basic symptoms, we really need to work upon. First thing is, if you talk about in school or in colleges, you need to see that there is a change in the behavior, rapid change in the behavior over the period of time, because it is not just something which is happening 1 or 2 days. It has to be very consistent in terms of the change as well. Like if you're talking about there is aggressive behavior or aggression being shown, or there is isolation, if it is happening once or twice in a month, it could be just something situational that have happened. But if it is occurring again and again and it's consistent throughout, then we need to work upon it and we need to talk to that person or that student. And if that student is not willing, it is important that we should take in consideration their parents or their guardian and support.
Okay, if your presentation is not back online, I think there are a couple of questions around strategies to build some resiliency around this. One for students, and I think also for individuals. So maybe if the presentation has issues, you can just speak through this.
Yeah, I think Atul, that would make more sense. Maybe we can have a lot of questions that maybe she can help answer.
Right. So, Ria, like I said, there are a couple of questions specifically around building some amount of resilience around.
Yeah, the coping mechanism, or we say like the basic things which we need to work upon. See, you don't need to just work upon your mental health because you are sick. You need to work upon your mental health so that you don't get sick. If you are already having mental illness, you need to work more throughout along with the treatment. And if you really don't think you have any problem, or you don't want to go for evaluation purposes, it is important that we work upon certain kind of building up. First is taking care of your health. I know it's been said again and again, and by you've been hearing it if you are part of mental health processes or webinar throughout, that when we say mental health, taking care of self, it is not just restricted to just taking exercising 40 to 45 minutes. It's more than that. we have to take care of ourselves physically. That is, of course, exercising every day. Along with that, having a routine and normal routine pattern where we try to sleep for 7 to 8 hours minimum, and on a regular time. At times it may go, it's on weekends or certain things, but over a period of time it has to be very regular with your sleep pattern. Along with that, connecting with people is very very important. When we say connecting with people, that is, it is important to have connection, be it your family, your kids, your associates, or people who you are working with. Along with that, if you feel like you are not somebody who wanted to talk, or some people feel not very open about talking about their problem, so you can join any kind of activity or a hobby where you enjoy yourself most. It is important to not just take care in terms of physically, but also something where you can uh, find yourself that enjoyment or that kind of fun where you can put in your efforts and you can see a certain kind of productivity. Connecting with the community, that is helping out, reaching out people who are need some kind of help. It is not always about joining a NGO or a community in terms of where you have to service yourself 2 to 3 hours. It could be just normally helping out the people around you, your family or your neighbor, where you need to build relation where you can connect. Because if you talk about mental health, it does come up in when people are isolated, because there they start feeling loss of hope, and it could lead to certain kind of problem.
Okay. There is one more question from Bindra around this. He says that he works with the police department, and this population is very specialized, I'm assuming, based on the stresses they go under. So he's asking, the police staff tend to restrain themselves from seeking support for mental health issues. So is there any tips, etc., to kind of help psychologists reach out to these kind of populations where maybe it is not their first reaction to help, reach out for help?
See, there are online services which are free of cost as well, and you can consult through online.
No,
Uh,
he I think works for the police department, providing consultation, counseling. So his question is, how does he try and encourage more of the
People out here. So they are
Peop-
talking about how we can educate them, people to taking seeking help in terms of mental health. Is that your question?
specifically he's asking about, I think, police and those kind of high stress groups.
Hmm. Of course. Okay. So see, these are majorly because if you again talk about, there are lack of awareness. People are not aware that how much mental health or mental illness can affect their day-to-day life, and not just in terms of having a negative impact. If you work through it, it can have a negative, it can have a positive impact as well. So it is important that we start with a certain or basic education of people. We are coming with the as we are part of CBSE, so we are coming with a curriculum as well. So where the schools and colleges are also having in their curriculum that why it is important to talk about mental health and why it is important to seek help. So it starts with education. If people are not willing and coming to talk to you, you need to go to people in terms of conducting webinars, or if now the situation is very contrived, so we have to conduct online webinar. Otherwise, we have societies, we have fortis working there. We try to reach out to people in terms of educating people. That is, we call it a psycho education, where we talk about what are the benefits of getting your mental health checkup, like you get your physical health checkup throughout, like in 3 months or in 4 months.
Bindra, does that answer your question? Okay. I think there is a question from Madhurwani. What sort of stress is faced by old people in the present situation, and how can we help them?
Okay, so when we talk about generally the old people and children, especially this pandemic, there are a lot of mental pressure which they are going through. The fears or the kind of trauma they have, or maybe they will have a aftermath, which we cannot see now, of course, because this is already an ongoing situation. We need to work upon it, and keeping ourselves positive is first thing. And when I talk about keeping ourselves positive, it does not mean that we cannot have a negative thoughts or we cannot have fear. It is just that trying ourselves to follow through a routine where we will limitize our watching of TV or media, where these things are just dragging it up and exaggerating again and again. We need to limitize these things. We need to take care of their immunity. If we talk about old people and young age group of till 18, 19. So we need to talk to them. If you cannot in person, you need to try to have a video call or over a call. Try to be in touch, because they are also in a state where they are unwilling and not actually very expressive in terms of their thought process. They are having other physical deformities also at this age.
Have I missed any other questions in the chat window? You can maybe paste it again.
And if it's not working with my, the PPT, I'm so sorry for that. I really, share with the link we have. People can see it because it includes the warning signs, which I really need to talk about, because especially during this time where we need to see that how and where we can seek the help.
Yeah, I think that is all right. I think everybody is having network and internet and electricity issues. So if anybody has any questions, maybe you can copy it onto the chat window, or you can unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah, hi Riha. I have a question. How we encourage people that at least they can say that they are going through this, because the problem is most time people don't accept that they are going through this, and even if they know, they're kind of afraid how they will say in front of family or society that I'm going through this. So how we can encourage then it's okay, I mean it happens and you're not alone going through this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're talking about how can we encourage, of course, during this time and in general as well. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, like you spoke about that suicide case and all. What I've seen that it's a phase of time, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour. And if the person is able to pass that time, then it's okay. But how you encourage people that you shouldn't reach to that limit? You should start talking or you should seek help, and you should not feel alone in this. I mean, there are people out there who are going through depression and all. Because sometimes, at least in our Indian society, it's really difficult to even admit that I'm going through it. So how,
Yes.
I think it's sorry to interrupt. I think probably we can also work on making ourselves as approachable to those people. So probably if Reha, you can talk about like how we can make ourselves approachable to those people so that they can talk to us instead of like going through that alone. So that's
it's actually something which will fulfill if we understand this, because that was actually the main motive when we planned for this series or webinar, that how can we actually walk through the mind of people and encourage in general about letting people come out of this stigma and this kind of barriers they have, and talk about their mental issues, their illness, their problem, because we do wanted to talk at times, but then there comes a time in our life where we are being rejected, where we are not being heard, and we get ourselves into a shell where we don't want to talk about it. So first thing is that educate yourself. It's the first. When I say educate yourself, I'm not just talking about Om or Abhishek getting educated something. I'm talking about myself as well. So in terms of every individual you want to help out will work differently. There is no basic rule for it. Yes, there are certain things which work with everyone, that is being empathetic or being kind. If you really wanted to go out and help out people, just listen. Don't try to advise them. Advice is something which is such a negative word. If we talk about in terms of psychology, if we talk about in terms of mental health, nobody is not in a situation to listen to you. So you cannot advise that ki, go to a doctor or take medication, go to a job. They cannot. They are not in a state. So first thing is educate yourself, understand what that person is going through. Just listen, understand what he's trying to say to you. Is he actually need any kind of mental health, professional help, or is just that he needs to be heard? Because a lot of people come to us after 3 or 4 sessions, they are done and they're like, they feel good about it. And when we follow it through, they are in a very better state than when they joined us, a month back or 2 back. So they just wanted to be heard. First step, very important step, is educate about the situation, educate yourself about the person who is in need of it, who wants to talk about it, rather than just ki I want to help. Don't just write down over a Instagram page or Facebook, if you want to be heard, I am here. If you want to be heard, no. If everybody is just projecting themselves, people actually wanted to be heard. If it has to be when you are acquainted with them, when you are related with them somehow. It could be your employer, it could be your employee, it could be your children or spouse, anyone. Sometimes you just don't realize that what they need. You just wanted to give everything you have gained throughout your knowledge, but you need to understand what actually they need during that specific period of time. They wanted to be heard, or do they need more than that? Do they need professional help? So education is important. Again, it is important that if they get into that state of mind where they are not they are not stable, they are not mentally fit to work through their mind or their productivity, it is important that we are educating them, or we are taking them or to the mental health professionals. Coming to Om's question, where he was talking, how can we encourage them? You have to be kind, you have to be soft when you're saying that, because there are chances, when we try to help out people, we lose our mind. We do get very sarcastic, we do get very aggressive, and in terms of, I'll say, very we try to be very taunting in terms of like, it's with you, like that. We do stigmatize them, and we don't realize that it is actually affecting it.
Right. Riya, there are thanks. There are 2 more questions, I think, related to suicide, etc. So there is one question is, why is it more rampant? I'm not sure if that is really data driven, but why is it more rampant right now? And the other one is, what are maybe symptoms of somebody who might attempt suicide, and what people can look out for?
See, if I talk about suicide, it is again a very different topic. It is related to it, but it is a very vast topic. I don't think so we'll be able to cover that much, but I can give you that, again, it starts with something which, when we talk about people, like Om said, that it's a phase where for 15-20 minutes of people where they don't get their mind straight and just commit suicide. First thing is, people don't commit suicide, they die by suicide. It's again a very stigmatic thing which we say. So we need to understand that it is not a 15 or 20 or half an hour minute of phase. It is actually a very long and a persistent and consistent period of time where they are not able to work through their self, be it physically, be it emotionally. It's just that we don't realize it when actually it's occurring, which is fine. But throughout also, we don't consider that thing as important. Like if I talk about people who are on a verge of committing suicide, they might say that they wanted to commit suicide, or the life is getting ended, and there is. So you need to be very careful when you are actually saying all. You need to be very careful when they are saying all these things, because some people actually do that, and they do have a very long history where they have not been performing productively in terms of be it school, be it college, be it their work profile, if you see there throughout, and also in terms of their relationship.
Okay, I think we have time for a couple of more questions. So we have one from Madhuvar. Sorry, I might mispronounce this, but the question essentially is: at present, we are all staying at home for a long time. We might unknowingly hurt family members. Is there anything that we can do about that?
A very, very important question, actually. I'll say that because knowingly or unknowingly we do that because the work pressure is too much, especially for working class, and they have been sleeping 4 to 5 hours mostly, which I have been talking to. And so it's important that, again, I'll say, practice gratitude throughout. It is not something you just start today and will you just say that it will be there. It has to be a long ongoing process. If you start today only, then you will be able to keep that thing consistent throughout and work through yourself and others. If you are outbursting, if you are aggressive, you are being not nice to other, understand there is something which is actually wrong with you. We don't understand, we say that, because generally people don't come and when some person in front of us say something wrong, we don't yell at them, or we don't, because something is going wrong with us, something is not right. Maybe it could be a very temporary phase, like when I say that we are working through very long hours and the work pressure is too much. So we need to take a break. We need to understand what is important and where we need to work upon, and listen to yourself, and then listen to others as well. I think my PPT is working. Can I show? Can you see?
Yeah,
Hello?
we can see that. You can walk us
we can
through.
see.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, something which I really need to talk about in this PPT was the warning signs, which I think that most of the questions are that where actually we need to know that it is the time where we need to go beyond our self-help and take a professional help is the warning signs. The first thing is the frequent mood changes. So I have written specifically the frequent mood changes and not mood swings. Mood swings is something which comes and go, and it is not very consistent. But when I say mood changes, that is sometimes you just get happy, and then within few seconds of or minute you get sad, and these are very extreme in nature. It could be loving somebody to hating somebody, being very nice to being very aggressive. So you need to see that these are going over a period of time. If I talk about clinical testing or treatment, it is of course a lot of other things. So you can say at least 20 days you need to see that if there is these things are very consistent in nature, there is one sign of where we say as a red flag. Again, is a social withdrawal. That is, when we say social withdrawal, a lot of people say that I generally don't go out, so there is no social withdrawal. So I am not talking about just in terms of social withdrawal. Of course, you might not have a very big circle in terms of friends or acquaintance. You go out and party, but you will definitely be working out with your your schoolmates, your college mates, or work people. Where we need to see that you have stopped going out for activities where you were very consistent and you are working throughout. Like maybe it could be you were not very regular with your office. You're not very regular with your work routines, or you don't want to talk to you even your parents or your spouse. So that is also part of social withdrawal. Generally, when we think of social withdrawal, we are just talking about that we are not going to parties anymore, or we are not interacting with friends. So that's not social withdrawal. It is not restricted to that. It is also about when we are withdrawing ourselves from social activities. Again, another is hampering of our problem thinking. That is, we are very much in a state of confusion. we are not able to work throughout our regular day-to-day, self care things. We are not able to take care of that thing. We are finding it small things which we used to do very difficult. That is, hello, am I still there?
Yeah, Ria, we can hear you.
Okay. So that is again one thing. So problem thinking, but and again excessive uneasiness. That is when people here was asking me that when how can you just relate that I am sad or I am depressed? What is the difference? So when you say excessive uneasiness, it could be not just sad. It could be the fear. You feel like somebody is trying to kill you. There would be hallucination. There could be you have dreams which are consistent in terms of which is affecting your day-to-day life. And again, something which is very important and which we don't take it seriously at all: a dramatic change in eating and sleeping habits. We just say that we have insomnia. A lot of people we've been talking to throughout, so people say that, oh, I have insomnia, but they don't know actually it's actually a mental illness. So they just say it in a very casual way. So we need to observe and very keen in understanding that what kind of changes are there in terms of our sleeping and eating. Are we eating too much? Are we eating too less? Could be a sudden weight gain or loss. Sleeping habit in terms of, I understand, if again I'm saying that if it's just there in once or twice in a month or two, it's fine. But if it is consistent, you are not able to sleep, it is affecting your relationship and other things, then you need to go and consult a psychologist. It does not always mean when we say these are warning signs that you have a mental illness, but yes, you definitely need to go if you have one or two signs, red flags of these things for further evaluation, because it can generally could be the start of where you really need to work upon yourself more than regular. I have summarized this thing that when actually is the self-care and social support is okay, and then where we need to work upon our beyond and going for a professional healthcare.
We will share this out also, Ria, so
Yeah.
if somebody is interested in reading through it.
Yeah. So are we have more questions?
Not right now. If anybody has any other questions, we can take maybe one or two questions and then we can wrap up. Any other questions? If you want, you can unmute yourself and ask also, is fine.
Yeah, Atul, if not, then maybe we can kind of.
Yeah, I guess there are no more questions. I would request everybody to maybe give some feedback. I have shared a link. I'll share it again. Also, Ria, if you could stop sharing, I'll just maybe walk everybody through the website so they know where to reach out if required.
Okay.
So, Atul, should I share my screen?
You are able to share, then I am sharing. I'll walk them through it.
Okay, great.
I thought you won't have net connection today, so. Can you see my screen though?
Not yet, Atul.
Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, sure. So guys, actually what Atul is going to share is we have a platform called Open Mentoring Group wherein you guys can talk to our mentors one-on-one. And like if you want to talk to Reha one-on-one, she's there on the platform. You guys can schedule your one-on-one session. Atul will show you how to do that. Atul, should I try sharing my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Seems to be some issue with mine.
Yeah. So Let me know, Atul, once you guys can see my screen.
Sure.
Is it visible, Reha or Atul?
No, we cannot see anything.
Okay, okay. Uh, I think I've shared it already. Maybe you need to pin or unpin. Um okay, maybe if it's
Yeah, it has now come up. It has now come up,
oh,
so we can,
great.
yeah.
So, guys, this is our platform where we kind of we have different formats. So, the one which you guys just heard about is like it's a webinar which we conduct every week, and we were talking about.
Your voice is breaking.
Oh, okay. So maybe Atul, you can talk, and I will just show how they can schedule one-on-one.
Yeah, I will just talk you through this. This is the website. It is, like I said before, completely non-profit initiative, only aimed at trying to help people out. So, Om, if you could scroll down to the topics so people can see. If you head to the website, you will see there are a list of topics that are basically there, and there are people who have registered as mentors against each of those topics. So, if you have any, so there are topics starting from design, like Ria took mental health today. There is a physical fitness related section there. Then there are a couple of IT sections. So you can see now like DevOps, machine learning, artificial intelligence. So if you're interested in any of them, there are mentors available. Like I said again, it is completely free of cost. People have just volunteered their time here. So if you want to, you can go down further. There are the list of mentors there, and their calendar is available. You can go open up the calendar. If you want to maybe scroll down slightly, and book a slot. So if, for example, you have some follow-up questions with Ria, or you feel that you need some help uh, around this topic, you can just go open up Ria's calendar here, and so she has like suggested that these are the times. So you see the blue dates. Those are the dates where she is available. So if you click on any one of them, it will ask you to select a time. So say on 25th at 4 o'clock, and confirm and just fill in some details, and this will set up a meeting for you. So you can use this, have interactions, and see if that helps you. Like I said again, all the mentors are just doing this completely pro bono. There is no money involved. None of it is, I mean, to be monetized in any way. So feel free to reach out, and people are available to help on the platform. So please do. I think today we had a bit of technical issues, but please do explore the platform. I'm sure it is quite useful. If there is a specific topic that you don't find a mentor for, uh, please email us. We will try and find somebody willing to spend time with you and try and help you. So please do check out the website. I've also shared all the social media links. You can follow us on any of them, so you know what the next topics are and what the webinar is about. Yeah, I think, and please do share some feedback so we know how this is going. Thanks. I think that is about it. Thanks, Ria. I think it was a really helpful and informative session. Uh, yeah, I suppose we can wrap up if there are no further comments.
Thank you, Atul.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Thank you, guys.